The other day I was reading the book of Jeremiah and I saw something fascinating that I wanted to share with you. It's a secret code in the book, a real secret code, and it's called Atbash. So let's take a look at our first verse, Jeremiah 25:26. In this passage, Jeremiah is talking about all the different nations of the world that will drink a cup of wrath. And towards the end, Jeremiah says, Umelech Sheshach, and the king of Sheshach, he will drink after them. The problem is we have no idea where Sheshach was. A similar verse can be found in Jeremiah 51, verse 41, where we find, Ech Nilkeda Sheshach. Oh, how Sheshach has been taken and captured. So where is Sheshach? What is it? Let's take a look at the ancient Aramaic translation of the Tanakh, the Hebrew Bible, called the Targum. Let's return to Jeremiah 25:26. The Targum has, instead of King Sheshach, Malcha Devaval, the king of Babylon. Similarly, for our second verse, when we said, oh, how Sheshach is captured, the Aramaic translation, instead of Sheshach, has Baval, which is Babylon. So the English translation isn't how Sheshach has been conquered, but how Babylon has been conquered. So what's going on here? Why is the Targum translating this differently as Babylon instead of Sheshach? Now, interestingly, there is a secret code in Hebrew. It's called Atbash, which stands for Aleph, the first letter of the Hebrew alphabet, Taf, the last letter, and then Bet, the second letter of the Hebrew alphabet, and Shin, the second to last letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And so what this basically means that for every letter, you are switching it out with its opposite letter at the end of the alphabet. So that the first letter of the alphabet, Aleph, is going to be a Taf. The second letter of the alphabet, Bet, is going to be a Shin. And it's a kind of a secret code where words can be switched around. To give an example in English, what's basically happening is that you would take the first letter A and switch it with the last letter Z. The second letter B would be switched with Y. And the third letter C would be switched with the third to last letter X, and so on and so forth. And when we look at the word Sheshach, which is Shin Shin Chaf, let's take a look. The Shin is going to be a Bet, the Shin is going to be a Bet, and the Chaf is going to be a Lamed, and it comes out to Bavel, Babylon. So what we have here is an Atbash, the idea being, instead of Sheshach, the secret is that this is actually Bavel, Babylon. And this can help us explain one more verse. If we turn to Jeremiah 51:1, God says that He's going to send a destructive wind to the Yoshvei Lev Kamai, which means something like the dwellers of the heart of those risen before me. Or it could just be a place called Lev Kamai. Now, we don't have any idea where this is, no one has any clue, but if we take a look at the Atbash, the Lamed is going to be a Chaf, the Bet is going to be a Sin, the Kuf is going to be a Dalid, the Mem is going to be a Yud, and the Yud is going to be a Mem. And when we put this together in Atbash, it spells Kasdim, the Chaldeans, the Babylonians. So just as Sheshach meant Babylon, the Yoshvei Lev Kamai means the dwellers of Babylonia. At this point, I'd like to do something a bit out of the norm and suggest that you pause the video, get up and either go to your computer, your app, or your shelf, wherever you look up biblical verses, and look up these biblical verses to see how your favorite translator handles this issue. Do they translate the Aleph Bet version or the Atbash version? So take a look what's going on and let me know in the comments what your favorite translation does. So this Atbash is fascinating for two reasons. The first one is it's an explicit case in the Tanakh where you need interpretation. You could read this and not have any idea what it is. Someone needs to tell you the code. And this is really mind-blowing if you think about it, a secret code in the Bible. I'm sure you've heard of secret codes in the Bible right and left. I get emailed every month or so about aliens in the Bible. So this isn't that. It's a real code. You can see it for yourself. And actually, as Judaism would go on, this Atbash code would be very popular, and many more biblical interpretations would be based on it, and an even more popular code called Gematria, which is the numbering of the letters. The second reason this is so fascinating is we, or at least I, have absolutely no idea why this code is here. It doesn't really make any sense. Who would have made this code and why? Was it Jeremiah or his scribe Baruch ben Neriah? Perhaps it was a later scribe, perhaps one living in Babylon itself? We just really don't know. Some people have suggested that the Jews in Babylonia were perhaps afraid that this verse would get out and the Babylonians would realize that the Tanakh is saying bad things about the Babylonians. But the truth is, the name Bavel, Babylon, appears many dozens of times in Jeremiah. Sometimes it even appears in our own verse saying bad things about Babylon itself. So there's no reason why just in these 3 out of dozens of examples we would have this secret code. So really, I have no idea why this code exists, but I do know that it's fascinating. And next time you're reading the Hebrew of Jeremiah and you see Sheshach or Lev Kamai, you'll immediately know how to interpret these words. Sheshach is Bavel, Babylonia, and Lev Kamai is Kasdim, that is the Chaldeans, the Babylonians. If you like this study and would like to learn to read Biblical Hebrew yourself, come take a class with me at the Institute of Biblical Culture, where I have classes starting every few months, and you can learn to read basic Hebrew as well as secret codes such as Sheshach and Lev Kamai, and I hope to see you soon.